You ever wonder why we're here? It's one of life's great mysteries, isn't it?
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Always Open. I am your host, Barbara Dunkelman, and I am so excited about today's episode. I'm joined by two of my best friends in the entire world, starting with...
It's me. I'm Hannah. That's my name. That's who I am.
And very special guest.
You stole my line.
I panicked. I'd said it right before we started, and then I panicked.
I feel like I'm going to black out.
No.
It's me, your girl, Mariel, former niche micro influencer, current job haver. So happy to be here that I can't stop shaking and crying and pissing and shitting.
I literally, I'm on the verge of tears right now.
I know.
This just feels like home to
Yeah,
me.
it feels right.
I've missed it.
Yes.
I've missed it so much.
God, yeah.
It's been too long.
It has been too long.
It was, so for those of you who don't know, if you just started watching Always Open, Mariel was former co-host of Always Open back when we did it.
In the day.
Back starting in 2016 up until 2021 is when we ended up 2020. It was during the pandemic.
During the pandemic, yeah. I think 2020, wasn't it like June or July of 2020?
Yeah, because then we started doing Just the Boys.
Just the Boys.
Which is like just the questions that we take.
Yeah.
It was like a live stream we did.
And then we phased that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's been a hot second.
Dude, life goes by. But also, I feel like the last 3 years of my life didn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Weird time compression that happens during all the last couple years.
Yeah.
We were talking about, we filmed this video when Pokemon Go was really big, where a bunch of us dressed up in like yellow and like went next door to where the Blue Starlight Drive-In Theater used to be to like dominate the gym.
Yeah.
And someone was like, that was 7 years ago.
Jesus.
And I was like, no, it wasn't. And then I looked at the date we released that video and it was 7 fucking years ago.
Is that real?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Absolutely not.
Time has no meaning.
Time- yeah, no, it
I don't
really
like
doesn't.
that at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm so happy you both are here. Hannah, frequent guest of Always
So
Open.
happy to be here. Adorer of both of you. Number one fan. Number one Always Open fan. I hold that title. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah, so if you're in the comments thinking you're
If you're in the
number one
comments,
fan,
good luck. Fight me.
sorry.
I
So
will,
sorry about it.
It's not
I
you.
will, yeah. I just will have to fight you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, we wanted to bring the show back and obviously like spoke to Mariel a bunch about bringing it back because you also found a new work.
Yes.
Got a big girl job.
Got a big girl job. This is a big girl job. Yeah. New work, new life, new everything.
Married now.
I'm married now. Yeah. I went through a lot of shit. I don't know how much trauma dumping can we do in the
All
last...
of it.
As much as you want.
All of it.
You know?
I mean, we have questions that we have for that. We don't have to get to any of them.
This isn't their show. It's our show.
That's
you
right.
write in your questions,
Yeah.
whatever. No, I do want to get to the questions because they are
They are
incredible,
good.
as always.
They're good questions.
But yeah, I mean, I left Rooster Teeth. It's crazy to think I only left Rooster Teeth a year ago.
That seems wild to me. It does
Wait.
not. Is that real
That's
though?
not true.
Yeah,
A year ago?
a year ago.
I mean, yeah, think about it. I left just before you.
Yeah.
And it was February.
yeah, I left in
So-
March of
Oh
2022.
my God. Yeah, well, it's funny because Hannah, I don't know if you want to talk about
Yeah.
your kind of journey in the last
Sure.
like year or so.
This is probably, I mean, we haven't talked about it. I don't think I've talked about it much on social media, mostly because I don't really use it as much as I used to. But I'm back here. I'm back. I have a job at Rooster Teeth again. But that's also what's wild. It's like I was gone for just under a year.
I think it was like 9 months or 10 months or something.
Just long enough to cook another kid. I mean, that's the other update for those of you who don't know who I am or don't know what I've been up to. Yeah, I mean, I worked at Rooster Teeth for about 5.5 years, left to go work for the Alamo Draft House, which I love. Lots of shout outs to the folks there. They're amazing. And also in that time had a baby. So I did that also.
Human.
A full-on
Full human.
person.
Tallest baby in the world.
Tallest baby in the world. Very tall. 99th percentile, that kid. I'm not particularly tall, so I don't know where that came from.
Neither is Dan, really.
No,
Like, he's not
neither of us are
short.
very
Yeah.
tall. So I don't know where that came from. But
Must have fed him good in
Yeah,
the
just,
womb.
cooked him up. But yeah, so I left, had a child, and like the prodigal daughter have returned and am back. And I'm working with all the content teams to make really cool stuff again, which is great. But yeah, it wasn't even a full year. Like that's and you left just after me.
Yeah, I left in March. I started my
wild.
job. I literally had my 1 year anniversary of my current job yesterday.
So what you're saying is it's time for you to come back.
It's time for me to come back, baby. Here I am.
When
1
Hannah
year
came
later.
back, I went one down.
One more to go. Listen, I'm open. I'll have my people call your people. God, yeah. You had a baby.
I did.
And he's incredible.
He rules. He's pretty great. He's a fun guy. He is a real he's a fun
I'm
guy.
glad you said that though, because
guy.
you know, I was gonna say I think he's a real asshole, but you know, that's my opinion.
Yeah,
of it.
he's
So
a goof.
needy.
Yeah, he's very needy. I mean, yeah, he's apparently, he doesn't really pay rent or anything, but
One day.
one day he will. Really a long time from now, though. From what I hear, it's not even like it stops when they're 18. You gotta.
Yeah, if anything, they become more expensive.
I know,
Yeah,
right?
they
God,
keep
truly.
requiring a lot of
Calling.
upkeep and maintenance for a long time. But yeah, he's great. He's fun. We don't have to go all into it because I feel like there might be something we'll touch on later. But yeah, pregnancy, having a child, being a mother postpartum is wild. I know.
It is.
It's crazy.
I am so happy for you guys, and like it just seems like you have this perfect little family unit, and it like I love seeing you guys together too. It's just still so weird to me that you, Hannah,
Yes.
someone who is essentially my age,
Sure.
one of my best friends, has a living, breathing human child, and you are a mother.
Oh, it's
mother.
A mother.
It's hard for me to wrap my head around, and I'm the one going home and being like, I made that.
I made you, and you're mine.
here. Like the amount of times we talk about it, we're like, it's just like having a random roommate who just showed up. You're like, who brought you here? Oh, I did. Oh, okay.
Oh, I made this. Okay.
I brought this into the world. Yeah, it's very much a huge shift. And I think, not to make this like the mom show, but yeah, I think it's interesting because it's something I think with all the stuff you've been going through too, it's just like, anything as you get older, your perspective shifts.
Absolutely.
And like how you approach things changes. And like,
I think the exact same way as I did when I was 12.
I mean, a lot of ways.
Hey, never
in a lot
lose
of
that
ways-
sparkle. It's
Yeah, in a lot of ways, I think that's also true. But I think it's, I would say like tolerance, just like my tolerance for things is so different now because I'm just like, this doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I'm just
definitely
like,
true.
It just like, and I think I don't think you have to be a parent to have that. My point is like, I think just part of getting older is that experience of just, you have just a different perspective as you get older in the context for like what works you up or stresses you out or like
Oh my God,
what
so
feels
true.
important is so different just the older you get.
Yeah.
And so, Vina, someone we work with just waving.
I know so many people here were like, because Hannah, you're still working mostly remotely.
Mostly remote.
And obviously, Mariel hasn't been here in a hot second. So, like, everyone around the office is so excited to see you guys. And we're just like, oh my God,
Yeah.
get out here.
Yeah,
It's really- and I'm
it's
like,
good
"They're
to be
mine."
back.
No, it's super
But
sweet.
yeah, but I feel like both of you, I think that's something where like, the older you get, just your perspective on things changes. And you don't have to be a
absolutely.
parent to have that shift happen. And, you've been going through stuff. You got married. There's lots.
Yeah, I
Lots
got
of
married, met the love of my life.
Also named Hannah,
also-
conveniently.
Listen, I have a problem I've realized. Every
With
Hannah that I
Hannahs.
meet, that I'm just like, well, God, I got to line you up now.
Yep.
I add you to my harem for Hannahs. That's
beautiful and perfect.
Been workshopping it with all the Hannahs.
we voted. We approved it.
Yeah.
Is there more than two?
There's about 17. Yeah.
Oh, wow,
Can't
okay.
keep up, but I love them
change
all
my name.
equally.
Yeah, exactly.
Is there room for a Barbara in your harem?
Yeah, we can make it work. If I don't know how close you are to the name Barbara, but if Hannah
Middle name,
Barbara,
maybe? Can we get a
Hannah
middle name?
Barbera?
Ooh,
That's a good
there's
one. Some type of
she's already
stretch.
she's already there though.
I know.
But
Yeah.
we can kick her out. I don't really like her that much. No, yeah. So we were still doing the show. I think whenever I met my wife, we met in July of like 2019. Got engaged in like September of 2020. Obviously, we're lesbians. Things move very fast. And if anything, we were late on getting married. We were like 6 months too late.
Behind schedule,
Yes,
yeah.
behind schedule
Yeah.
comparatively to the rest of the lesbian population. But
I still remember when you told me you guys got engaged, and I was like,
you're like,
yeah.
all right.
But like,
You
you
met
were
yesterday.
you guys knew.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
you said you knew, I think, after the first date.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
We met and immediately I was like, okay, yeah, I want to marry this woman. She's incredible. And I do love her so much. She is the light of my life. So yeah, we met, we got engaged in September of 2020. And as if the pandemic wasn't bad enough for everyone, surprisingly, we actually didn't have that bad of a time during the pandemic. Like the first year was kind of like, yeah, we're locked up together. We're not leaving our house. It's like, well, what else would we do as lesbians? Like we never leave our house anyway. So it's kind of perfect. But my wife got diagnosed with ovarian cancer in like December of 2020. So like as if the world wasn't bad enough, that happened.
And that was
thankfully.
like the peak of awfulness too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was like everything was like so bad. And it was just like, all right, like life is truly crashing down. Like we just got engaged. Like what are we doing? How are we going to figure this out? So we thankfully she's completely fine now, and she had like a very good claps to that, because it is very had a very good team of doctors taking care of her, thankfully. So she, God, I can't believe I'm talking about it without crying. Thanks, Prozac. This message sponsored by Prozac. But yeah, she's like super healthy. She's finishing up her last semester of nursing school. She's about to be a labor and delivery nurse here in Austin, and she's gonna be the best nurse in the world. Yeah, we're like prepping to have a family. We're prepping to do all of these things. Yeah, and it's just like you talking about perspective shift is so incredible, because it's like I feel like you like, especially for me, it was like I spent so much of like my early to mid 20s with like everything kind of out of focus and just being like, what matters? I don't know. So I guess everything matters because it's like it's all encompassing, and then you get to a point where like it's literally like focused, like a camera focus, and you're like, oh shit, this is what matters. And then I'm like, this is what I want to do with my life, and like you know, make sure that this is like the path that I go down on. But yeah, we're fairly happy.
Got your pets to oatmeal and everything.
Yeah, Odie's going strong. She's great. She's the love of my life, and also the worst decision we've ever made. But that's just what happens when you bring a dachshund into your life.
Yeah,
and then of course our fat cat Cashew, who I obsess over and love so much.
Is that not?
Who, yes, is
on your water bottle?
I said I wasn't going to promote any brands, except I will promote my cat.
The brand of Cashew.
The brand of Cashew. She's incredible. But yeah, it's just like I don't know. Like people are always like, oh, like how's the first year of marriage? Like blah blah blah. I'm like I don't know. Like we've been married now for a year.
Because you guys got married January 2022.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know, dude. I get to hang out with my best friend like every day, and I get to come home and we hang out and we like just have the best time together. And I literally like,
what more could you ask for?
What more? Yeah. What more could you ask for? There's nothing better. I mean, so yeah,
goals. As they say.
Hashtag
goals.
Hashtag relationship goals.
I don't know if you'd be open to talking about this, but something you guys were mentioning was starting a family at some point. And you told me something that's very interesting, but also infuriating.
Yes.
In terms of like when you're in a same-sex couple.
Yes.
And one of you, you know, is carrying the child and then gives birth, and the process of that, how essentially the other one of you has to adopt your own child.
Yeah. So basically, when I was still at Rooster Teeth, we underwent like an IVF retrieval. So basically, because Hannah no longer has ovaries, I went ahead and we did a retrieval for my ovaries, and so we have like frozen embryos ready to go, basically to pop one in. She's still
like a pill.
Yeah, I know, right? She's still able to carry. Thankfully, her type of cancer like wasn't affecting her uterus, so she was able to like keep that and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, so our baby will be biologically my child.
Okay.
But Hannah will carry it. We just have like an anonymous sperm donor. And I have to adopt my child in order to be legally recognized as a parent, even though I am
your
the
DNA,
biological
like
parent.
literally, yeah.
So I always like to make this joke that Hannah hates, in which I'm like, if you piss me off, that's not my baby. Take me to court. That is not my baby.
I'm their adoptive mother.
But yeah, it's terrible. We've actually talked to like Hannah and Dan about this, about like, because everyone just kind of accepts this as it's like, oh yeah, this is just what you have to go through. I'm like, but like someone should do something about it. And like it shouldn't, because it's not the case in like
Surrogacy?
in surrogacy, you do have like there's a bunch of legal paperwork, I'm sure, that has to go through all of that. But like if the same were true for a straight couple, so like let's say you know, a man was like couldn't produce sperm but so they get a sperm donor, and then like the wife is where they use her egg, he does not have to adopt the baby. Like he
doesn't even have any genetics in play right that even.
Right. So it's like a very like, I don't know, homophobic, sexist, misogynistic law, and it sucks. And yeah, it's really fucked up.
It's so fucked up. I was flabbergasted when you told me. It's like, surely that is incorrect.
Yeah. It's one of those things too that like whenever like parental rights, I went to film school. I don't know math and I don't know the law. So I'm always breaking and entering and stealing avocados from HEB. Just kidding.
How much could an avocado cost? I can't do math.
Yeah, I can't do math. I don't know.
They should be free. They are fruits of our land.
Exactly. 100%. But yeah, it's just like all of these legalities, and it also varies from state to state. So like some family lawyers will be like, oh, well, like if you're doing it in like California, whatever, blah, 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 it's a little bit more lax. But like in terms of having like coverage throughout, like, you know, if something were to happen to Hannah or if something were to happen to me, like whatever, like the legitimacy of our like parental rights being up to decision of a court is like insane. And there's already been precedent set with like people like women losing their like rights to their children and like them getting granted to donors who like were like, yo, I jizzed in a cup anonymously, like that I did not sign up
literally
for this.
Didn't even want the child.
So it's crazy. We're like still in the process of like figuring out timing and everything, but that's one of the things that's going to have to be on our list, which sucks because it's just like it shouldn't have to be something that we have to think about,
something that you could do and you have like everything you need to do it.
And you just like shoot it up and let's go. We got a baby. I don't know. I think that's how it works.
That's how it works.
You snort the sperm up your nose.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know. We'll do some witchcraft.
We haven't learned. We haven't had sex ed here.
No, not on this show.
It's Texas.
Not on this show.
Yeah, we never talk about sex on this show.
But it's been a crazy whirlwind of a time, but also like we've spent so much time, I think, obviously because of the pandemic and Hannah being so busy with school, like just kind of like stuck at home, just like not doing too much. So we're really looking forward to her finishing at the end of the semester and then just being like, okay, like we can live our lives and like see where that takes us.
I was gonna ask, do you think you guys are gonna have like any sort of, I think they call it like a baby moon, where it's like you go on a trip or you do something big before deciding to have your first child?
Yeah, we've talked about it. We're gonna go see Taylor Swift. And
it's a perfect baby moon.
That's like the graduation present because we got floor seats.
Is it you and Hannah that are fans?
Yeah, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
well,
okay.
Hannah is the ultimate diehard fan.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been going to see Taylor Swift since she was like a kid.
Oh my gosh.
And then I got indoctrinated into the cult of Swift.
As
I will admit it. I admit it myself.
Oh my
I suck. I used to be a big Taylor Swift hater. So don't go looking in my tweets. I deleted them all.
She can't possibly know that you used to
She
hate
can't
her.
possibly know. I will be banned
You will
from the
not
stadium.
trace it back
You
to me.
cannot trace it back to me.
Oh my gosh.
I think I said this before on the show because I started like really getting into my Swiftie phase in like 2019, I think. My hate for Taylor Swift was internal misogyny. Okay,
Was it?
And that's what it was.
What do you feel about Taylor Swift, Hannah?
Do you have
guns?
Yes. Mariel's got like a gun to my head. I think she is great. I'm like looking at Mariel like I'm gonna get punched. I have truly. Why am I stammering? I'm like nervous. I'm like so scared.
Say it.
The Swifties are gonna. No, I actually like. I think her music is great. I don't honestly know. Most of my consumption of Taylor Swift media is like Twifty media. Twitter is via my friends who are big Swifties. So like I see it through the lens of like Mariel and like other people who are very big into her.
I know, like Barbara Badur.
I was gonna say Barbara. They're
was
all
very sweet and offered us tickets whenever she was like, we weren't sure if we were going to get them, but we got the floor seats.
Wow.
And we're going to do it all the way to fucking Seattle. Do it. But we're going.
That's fun though.
Yeah, it's a trip.
Great.
It's a fun trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean like I feel like I am just like just a casual couch fan of her work. I'm like, yes, well done. I watched
I'm
her
kind of the
documentary.
same
Yeah.
boat. Like, I like her. I enjoy her music. I think her as a person is fantastic.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know the lore.
I
don't
that's
know.
the lore
That's
I know
where
is
you-
through
the Taylor.
is through
the
them.
Taylor,
Yeah.
Kaylor specifically.
Yeah, I only know about Kaylor because of you
Yeah,
guys.
of course.
Yeah.
Because here's
Yeah.
the thing: Taylor Swift is a woman who likes women, and
I mean, I've talked to Griff at length about this. I think she has a PowerPoint presentation about.
I think she got that from me actually. But we have my good friend Hillary created like an 86-page
Oh my God.
PDF slideshow.
like of proof, essentially. Or
Yes,
like
that's literally. I think it's called like Taylor Swift is a lesbian. I have evidence for days. By
And we're not
Hillary
trying
Ann
to.
Nolan.
This is not like outing people.
No,
this is
no.
purely just like
it's just for funsies.
and based on
Listen,
her
Taylor
own-
Swift is outing herself. Have you seen anything that this woman has put
I mean,
out?
if you have 86 pages,
It-
it's hard to rebut.
That's
It is.
dense. That's
Yeah.
a lot.
That is,
That's a lot.
I think the Constitution is less.
That's
Is it?
I don't know. Again, I don't know the
maybe.
law.
I don't know. I don't know. I know it's important.
that's a dense PowerPoint.
It's dense, and
That's
it's also I will say it's not up to date. It needs to be updated with some more damning evidence. But let me tell you, okay, here's
It's Carly Kloss, right?
Carly Kloss.
That's like
yes,
one of the people.
But Diana Agron,
She has a
Carly
type.
Kloss. Yeah, she has a type. Hot
blondes,
women.
yeah.
Hot blondes. Watch out.
Yeah.
Watch out.
Watch out, Trevor.
But there is just like so many little pieces of evidence that like that play off of like either she's like incredibly good at queer baiting, which I just don't think
Yeah.
that she would go that
I
far
don't think
to
she
do
would
that.
do it on purpose.
No.
Or she's gay and there's no other option.
Yeah.
there are two wolves inside Taylor Swift. One is queer baiting and one is just a raging
Which
homosexual.
wolf will win?
But like I will say,
Yeah.
I do truly believe that she's in love with Joe Alwyn. I do think that they're together. I do think that they're happy together. I'm just saying, like, there are people who are like
Yeah.
crazy on the spectrum of
Sure.
like the QAnons of the Swiftie world of like, oh no, she is like, she's still engaged or she's like married to Carly Kloss, like
Oh my
secretly,
gosh.
blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I
Wow.
don't believe all that.
Oh,
I
wow.
believe she has had relationships with women.
Yes.
I believe that she has had very intimate relationships with women and sings about that in her songs and does it in a way that's like, wink, wink, just kidding. But am I? I don't know.
It's a joke unless
It's a joke. Haha, unless you want to kiss.
Well, I know there's like even songs where like the rhyme for it would have been like a very easy rhyme,
Yes.
but she switches things.
What is it? Why am I blanking on the song?
We're gonna take
She's
away
got
your
it in her
Swiftie
night. Or,
card.
God,
Yeah.
she's
she's running
anyway.
interference on you right now.
She's like,
there's a
scramble the brain. Yes, no, and there's one specific thing that comes to mind that's not in the document I will be sending you all after.
I can't wait.
If
your
you
homework for
I'm
today.
gonna make my son watch it.
Yes,
just to get
absolutely,
him
duh.
started early. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm surprised, honestly. Actually, I do have a video of Hannah playing
That's
Taylor
true.
Swift to Ellis when we
Yeah,
babysat.
that's true.
Did he enjoy it? Was he
He did.
bouncing
He
about?
loved it.
Oh, he
seemed to
loved
love
it.
it, yeah.
He's also obsessed with Hannah.
He
though.
is. Well, who wouldn't be?
I
Yeah.
mean, I feel
true.
like Hannah has like the child, like
Yeah.
she's like the child whisperer.
Oh, 100%.
is.
Yeah.
She totally
I
is.
am fully confident in like my ability to become a mother because she like is a savant with children.
She's so good.
But there's this
so are you.
not that great, honestly. Like I stumble my way through and like I've been very lucky with like my nieces and nephews and being close to them and like figuring out how to do that. But I'm very lucky to have her by my side and as we like enter this new journey.
Wow, so beautiful.
You're like, but back to Taylor
But
Swift.
back to Taylor Swift and why she's a queer woman. I'm not going to say she's a lesbian because I don't think she's a lesbian. I'm just saying she's a queer woman, 100%. In the Reputation tour, which you can watch on Netflix, live on the Reputation tour, there's this song that she has called Dress.
dress.
I need you to listen to that song
Uh-huh.
and I need you to listen to Dancing with Our Hands Tied
Okay.
because she makes
type these
references.
I'm gonna type this
Play it.
Yeah, yeah.
She makes references about like
And what was the second song?
Dancing with Our Hands Tied.
Dancing with Our Hands Tied. Okay.
Dancing with Our Hands Tied. I loved you in secret.
Oh. Okay.
I can't remember the rest of the words because again, she's scrambling my brain right now. She's like, "Shut up! You're telling him too much."
I mean, we are putting you on the spot.
Yeah,
so
that's
it's
true.
like,
yeah,
Yeah.
but there's just like a lot of references and like things that you're like, if you're like a woman who has loved women in secret, you're like, this bitch, she's got my number. This song is about me. Did I write it?
You ghost wrote it.
I ghost wrote it. I think I might have. But anyway, so then there's another song, Dress, that everyone says they think is written about Karlie Kloss. And there's a particular line that she says like, I don't want you as a best friend. It's like, Taylor Swift, we know that she's been with all of these men. That's like the whole thing.
Sure.
She is our modern day Evelyn Hugo. Like her autobiography is going to come out when she's 70. And we're going to be like, yeah, we all knew it.
Thank you. We've been new.
We've been new. But in Dress, in the Reputation tour, she is performing the song and then having dancers on the stage. The Colors, which no offense to All Good No Worries, very lesbian palette right here, by the way. I don't know if you know
that's
this.
That's not an offense. Hell yeah.
Oh, it's true. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, that's a very good.
It's like yellow, pink, and
that gay.
white, right? I mean, we're that is us.
Gay. But like the colors that are flashing on the screen are like literally like the lesbian flag. And then at the end, she has like a thing that comes up that's like talking about the style of dance and like the particular like dance moves and like dance method that was performed for that particular song was created by a lesbian woman. And she's like, shout out to this big old gay bee. Thanks for dancing this way. Gay.
There you go.
Gay.
All the evidence is there. Jury's still out.
Jury's in.
Jury's in.
Gay.
Jury has
Guilty. Guilty of gay.
So you guys have the concert coming up in Seattle.
Yes.
I'm not going to any of the shows, but
it was.
I'm
would
sure I'll
not
see about
Here's
it.
the thing: I would not take a ticket from a true Swiftie.
Same.
Yes.
I would feel
that.
too
Yeah,
guilty.
I would not be. I would not be deserving of it. I would not appreciate it enough.
Let me tell you that the Ticketmaster fiasco.
Oh wow, that was wild.
Was
were you affected by that? Or
oh my god, the reason
I say it as
going,
if it's like a natural disaster. You guys affected
it was. It absolutely was not one of the worst this country's ever seen.
Oh my god!
But we tried to get tickets to Chicago. That didn't work. I was like literally sobbing.
Just make
at
sure
my
you
desk.
go the right day if you go to Chicago.
God, we're not going to Chicago. And thanks for bringing up my trauma.
Do you know about that, right?
I do. Yeah.
The fucking Hamilton show.
Yeah.
Was this?
Went to Chicago the wrong
the
weekend.
wrong weekend, and I was like, "What the fuck am I doing here?" No, I have literally every time I look at every like confirmation, I'm always like, "Okay, it's this day. I'm going to be in Seattle for Taylor Swift." Okay, but no, I tried to get tickets to the Chicago show. Could not. Okay, so it's a whole saga, and we can get into it, or we cannot. I'm going to get into it. We're using our friends, a friend of a friend's. What's the credit? Just not Discover, Capital One card, because they were having a Capital One presale.
That's right.
And so like this friend of a friend
Fancy.
was like, here's this card number, whatever. And I was like, oh, got it. I'm going to be at home. I'm going to like try and get the tickets. Log in with her thing. Everything is good. I'm able to like get the tickets, but then it's like, oh, we're going to text you a code.
Oh no.
So like you have like 5 minutes to put this code in. So like I'm panicking because I don't have this friend of a friend's contact info, and I'm like texting my friends, and I'm like, I need you to get the card. Like I need you to get the number, and they're all busy. And so finally, they're like, here's her number. And so I call her. She doesn't answer. I text her. I'm like, hey, it's me. It's Mariel. I need the card. I need the code. Like
This
text
is an
me the
emergency.
code. Like I have 5 seconds. Give me the fucking code. And finally, she texts me the code, and literally it's 20 seconds too late, and the tickets are gone. And so I was like screaming and sobbing, and I was so upset because like as much as I want to see Taylor Swift, like I really want to see Taylor Swift with Hannah.
Yeah. And I'm sure you knew like the importance.
Yes.
Of
And it was like
going
to be great. And it's like good timing because she's been having like such a busy schedule with school, and she'll be done, and it'll be a great celebration. So I was just like, I fucked it all up. It's over. Like it's done. And then, so I'm like crying, like literally sobbing on the phone to my wife, Hannah. And I'm like, to this wife, Hannah, not to my other wife.
To me.
Both your wives.
Yes, both my wife.
She had us both on
conference call.
on a 3-way call,
Yes.
and I was just like, "It's gonna be okay."
So I was like, I fucking had them, and they're gone, and I cannot get any more tickets. Like we're fucked. It's over. And she was just like, no, it's not. It's not over yet because the West Coast doesn't go on sale yet for another hour. She was like, I'm on my way home from class. We're getting tickets. So this bitch comes in. Sorry, I don't mean bitch because I'm like, I should say witch because I'm truly
love of your life.
Whenever I am married to a crystal girly. I am married to a zodiac, an astrology girly. I'm married to.
Love that, by the way. For my
Yes.
birthday, you guys came to we met up at a bar, and she brought me a little birthday gift, and it was like a bunch of crystals.
Yeah.
And she's like, "This crystal does this, and this is that." I'm like,
I love it.
She's like, we're gonna get these tickets, and she's like, don't worry about it. Everything always works out. It's gonna work out. We're gonna be fine. And I was like panicking, and I literally had to go and like get my prescription Xanax and to pop one because I was like, I'm gonna go comatose. I don't know how to handle myself right now. I was so upset. And we both get on it. She has her laptop. I have my laptop. And it's like, okay, 3, 2, 1, counting down, blah, blah, blah. And we're like frantically clicking. She gets 2 clicks in and she's like, all right, we got these floor seats. Do you think we should go with those? And I was just like, I fucking love you and I hate you at the same time because like I am so lucky that I get to spend my life with you, but I'm also like very scared and intimidated because like you are very powerful.
yeah.
She's not of this earth. But anyway,
I mean, there's
all that to
something
say,
to say for manifesting, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we are gonna have we are already living our dream life because she's so great at making everything we could ever want happen.
Amazing.
But anyway, enough about my perfect wife and Taylor Swift.
Who should be one and the same.
You know what? Yeah, hot blondes. I don't know. What can I say? My
You and
kryptonite.
Taylor Swift both have the same type.
Yeah, we have the same
apparently.
type. Yeah, I guess so.
Clearly.
Taylor, call me up.
Lots in common.
Yeah.
It's getting to the point in Texas where you pretty much need to be in sunglasses every time you go outside. But it's been really hard for me to find a go-to pair of sunglasses that aren't constantly getting tangled in my hair. I got a lot of hair. Luckily, our friends at Shady Rays have a new tangle-free aviator that has a patent-pending nose piece that they designed specifically to avoid tangling. I, of course, have them with me because I never leave my house without these sunglasses. As I said, they don't tangle. They have this little nose piece that doesn't get caught in your hair. It's wonderful for anyone who ever puts their sunglasses on top of their head or anywhere within their hair range. They know what I'm talking about, and these are incredible. They never get tangled, so I just slide them back on my face, no problems, and it doesn't ruin my hairstyle either. Plus, Shady Rays offers the most insane protection in all of eyewear. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they will send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. And if you don't love your pair, you could exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. I mean, it doesn't get better than that. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com/tanglefree and use the code OPEN for 30% off their best-selling tangle-free aviators and much more. Save before they sell out and try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Back to the show. I feel like my shopping list is never empty. First, I'm out of paper towels, then I run out of trash bags, then I need groceries, and the list just goes on and on. It's time to stop spending your hard-earned money without getting anything in return, and that's where Ibotta comes in. With Ibotta, you can earn cash back on every shopping trip, and it's so easy to set up. All you have to do is enter your loyalty account or upload your receipt after you shop, and you could get cash back on hundreds of grocery items from produce to personal care to pantry goods. Plus, the average Ibotta user earns $120 a year in real cash back. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip. As I mentioned before, I use Ibotta for almost everything. I go grocery shopping all the time and get cash back on everything I buy. It's literally the easiest thing ever. You don't even have to think about it. It's essentially free money. What more can I say? Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code OPEN when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app and use the code OPEN. That's IBOTTA in the Google Play or App Store and use the code OPEN. Now back to the show.
I've never experienced anything like that.
No.
In terms of trying to get tickets to something so bad and having that much demand.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was insane.
You know, that's what I feel when I see the Taylor Swift girlies like losing their, whole life over that kind of stuff. I'm like, I wish I cared about anything.
That's the thing. It's like I almost
Like
want to
that.
get into
Me too. I'm
like
like
the Swiftie.
There's just
Yeah.
like, I feel like
Just to feel like so passionate.
to feel
about
that.
Yes.
I want to feel alive.
Yeah.
You know? I
or
don't-
dead.
Or
If I don't
dead
get
if it
yes,
goes the
no,
wrong
you know?
way. But like, yeah, I'm like, I wish I was interested in anything that intensely.
the highs are highs and the lows are
I'm like
lows.
trying to, I'm like, I don't think I do. Yeah. I'm like, I don't have that.
Yeah, I would, I didn't think that either. And then this whole thing happened. And like, at the end of the year, you know, when like Spotify does like their Wrapped, I feel like I try. I like listen. I like to listen to a lot of like different genres of music every year since like 2019. It does not matter. Taylor Swift is always my top.
She has you in a chokehold.
She does. She absolutely has me in a chokehold, and
You're okay with it. You're just okay with it.
I think she's so incredibly deserving of the success she's seen.
Oh yeah, she's got. I mean, she's been through so much. But like, I think for me, it was now going back because I like whenever 1989 came out, I bought that album. It was the first Taylor Swift album I bought, and I was like, oh my god, okay, I actually like Taylor Swift. And then what was it? I think Reputation came out, and I was like, okay, she's in her flop era, obviously. Now I go back and listen to Reputation. I was like, what was I thinking? Like, who was I? I don't even like that person anymore.
That's something I think is like, I want to talk about that more on the show in general, but like, you know, we started this show Always Open in 2016.
God.
And thinking about the types of conversations we used to have and the types of ways that even I would speak about things, I look back and I cringe sometimes. I'm just like, I'm such a different person now and my tastes have changed. Even now you saying like, you used to hate Taylor Swift. And now you're like sobbing because you couldn't get tickets.
It's crazy. Yeah. I mean, I can't imagine going back and like listening to our first episodes and being like, what of my opinion, because my worldview has shifted so much on so many different things, on like things I wouldn't have even expected. And I think that's also like a wonderful thing about getting into a relationship with someone who you just like love and trust so deeply, because you're like, oh, like a whole new world of opportunities can open up. When you have that much like security of just like, oh, like there's things I never thought I could do because I have this person who's being like, fuck yeah, go do it. Like, why not?
And that's the way it should be. Should have someone who's has your back
always, all the time.
Your number one fan. Like Dan.
Dan the fan.
Which you know, before we took Always Open off the air, we had like a whole episode of you talking about like how Dan proposed to you.
And now
proposal. You guys have a baby.
Now we have a child. I mean, that's so true, because I think to your point, Mariel, like when you're in a secure relationship, in a relationship where you feel totally supported, you're able to be yourself. Like you're able to be the person that you really are at your core, because you don't feel like you have to perform for anybody, and you don't feel like, you know, there's always someone who's going to be there to support you. And that sort of level of security, I feel like, just translates to everything you do in your life. Absolutely. You just have this base level of like, I know, what is it like? If Hannah has 1 million fans, I'm one of them. If she has no fans, I'm dead. Like that's how I feel about Hannah, your wife. But yeah, I think it's that feeling of like knowing you have that level of support. It just gives you this center to move through life in, that just keeps you really, you're just kind of like, you can handle a lot more, I think, when you have that. And I think we're all very fortunate, the three of us at this table, to have people like that in our lives. Absolutely. You know, I know that's the case with you and Trevor, and with you and Hannah. Dude, so
every day, Trevor and I look at each other and go, I'm so glad I don't have to date anymore.
Oh my God. Yeah. Dan and I have said that too.
So glad I don't have to go through that process anymore. Like, never again.
To anyone out there doing it, we see you.
And we get tons of questions into the show talking about it, which, by the way, if you have a question for us on Always Open, you could email alwaysopen@roosterteeth.com. You know the address. Before we get into our question, I do want to talk about one more thing, which we've talked about before the show, which is, I don't know if it's a theory or whatever it is, but it's the Kiki and booba, which, if you've never heard of this, it's essentially like two different shapes. One is like a spiky kind of star shape, and one is kind of a blobby, kind of curved, flowery shape.
More.
And you could probably guess which one's Kiki, which one's booba. Kiki is the star one. Booba is the kind of more.
We kind of have some Kikis and boobas.
Yeah, actually. And it was basically like, I think it was a visual study where they showed people the two shapes and said which one is booba, which one's Kiki, and like almost by and large, everybody always said the spiky one is Kiki, the curvy one is booba. Like it was just naturally how people categorized them. And there's at least one video I saw, and we've all seen, I don't know, there's probably plenty of them now, of a woman on TikTok explaining how she feels people can be classified as booba
specifically or Kiki. Like male, male identifying people.
Yeah, mask,
which I think is so true. But for women, I have such a hard time identifying. Like I look at you guys, I'm like, you're not Kiki or booba.
We're boogie.
You're a little bit of both. But there was this girl talking about how like she has figured it out, that she is attracted to men that are more like booba. So like guys that are a little bit more, not chubby or necessarily like any type of like body type, but it's like more of a facial feature,
softer.
softer, more rounded nose,
Yeah.
like rounded features or
Yeah.
something. Versus like Timothy Chalamet, who's a Kiki.
Yeah, he's very spiky.
Yeah,
It's-
spiky boy.
I definitely, and I don't know if this is just because I like don't experience, romantic or sexual attraction to men, but I'm like, oh yeah, men, 2 buckets. That's it. That's all you need for men. But I'm like, women, I need 37 million buckets to like
Yeah.
be able to like, blah, blah, put, kind of
Yeah.
separate, because I'm like, I feel like with men, I can instantly be like, oh yeah, like you're this kind, like this is what I think of you. But when I think of like a woman and I try to put her in that kind of like 2 bucket perspective, I'm like, I need more buckets. Like or you're like a mix of things. You're 50% this, or you're 75% Kiki, but I know you got some booba in you.
You guys are booba in there. There's also another one I saw where it was like men could either be like rats or
all men are rats.
I've never heard this
except
one.
if you're watching the show.
You're not a rat. What's the other one? It's rats or what?
It's like a bear or something. Like it's like a basically like
Okay.
I'll need to look it up to
Yeah.
see what the other one was. But like you could look at a guy and be like, "You're a rat boy," versus
Eric
like,
Bador.
Eric Bador.
Yeah.
Most obvious example.
rat
of
man. Rat man.
Rat man.
Excuse
Sorry,
me.
sorry, rat man.
Versus like it's more again it's Kiki
Interesting.
Booba. I think
Yeah,
it's very similar.
interesting.
Like a little more sharp versus
That's
a little
so
more soft
interesting.
round.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
We were
It's-
trying to come up. I would love for people to get in the comments and tell us who, from like a female identifying, if they have an idea of who would be Booba or Kiki. Because we
Yeah.
were trying to like pinpoint before the show started. We're like,
You had a good
who's-
one.
I was like, Kristen Stewart to me might be Kiki.
Mm.
Yeah.
But I would love to know people's points of view.
You know when you're
On
in a
Booba and
situation like
Kiki.
this and you can't think of an example of
Yeah.
any
Yeah, you're
celebrity?
just like,
I'm like, name a female celebrity for $1.
Yeah. Oprah Winfrey? Yeah.
Booba or Kiki. I would love to know.
I would
yeah.
say she's Booba.
Yeah, she's booba.
Yeah,
for sure.
but see, now
Has
you're
a
like,
little bit
okay,
more
she's Booba.
Well, yeah, but I'm like,
But
I
she
don't
could
know
be
her.
Kiki.
I need to get to know her to like.
Yeah.
I'm not going to judge a book by its cover. I'm not going to judge.
Maybe
judge
it's
a
like-
booba.
Booba.
Maybe-
Booba by its Booba.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe it's because like maybe when we're talking about Booba and Kiki, what she's really talking about is like the female gaze, where like the male gaze for women is, we all kind of generally know what that's like.
That's more to the Boobas.
There you go. But maybe Booba and Kiki is a way of contextualizing the female gaze for men in particular.
It's possible.
I don't know. Maybe that's why it feels like it skews more towards men.
Yeah, I feel like I want to look it up. But yeah, if
Yeah.
you're listening to this, you should definitely check out the Kiki and Booba. I said
BB and Kuka.
BB Kuka.
BB Kuka.
Please, yeah. I would love to know people's thoughts on Booba
Absolutely.
and Kiki.
Well, let's
Let us
get
know.
into some questions.
Yeah.
I'm going to start things off with a little bit of a shorter one.
Okay.
We do have some long questions that we will hopefully get to as well.
Yeah.
But this one should be an easy one, I think, for us to talk about. So this reads, does anyone have advice on how to cope with your closest friend having a child? It's hard to process that things will never be the same. And I feel like we will inevitably become distant when she is too busy being a mom. Weirdly, I feel betrayed. I know that doesn't make sense. I've mostly internally been a huge brat about this and find it difficult to be happy for her. Oh yeah, and she lives in China and I live in the US, so we really depend on good communication. I hope our conversations don't turn into 100% baby news. Help.
Well, let me tell you, as someone with an 8-month-old, no, I actually would love, I think this is a great one for you both to give perspective on, but I can speak from the perspective of the new mom. What I think I would say to this person is like, know that this probably, your friend is probably worried about this too. Like,
Yeah.
that, I think that's something like new moms, especially like, I don't know this mom, like I don't know anything about what she is going through on her side, but like, if she doesn't have friends with babies, like that was kind of an experience for me, but almost none of my friends have babies. So I felt very like isolated of like, oh my God, I'm going to get left behind. Like all my friends are going to be out doing like stuff I was able to do a year ago. And then I'm going to be home, like never seeing the light of day ever again.
Were you ever worried that like you would, I'm not going to, this is the
No.
bad word for it, but like bore people with
Oh.
like baby talk or like talks about like
Yeah.
things
Well, I
that
mean,
you guys are dealing with?
And this kind of goes back to what we were talking at the top of the show, which is that like, I think it's just also recognizing like people grow and change and different seasons of your life mean you're going to have different things going on. And like, I very much, it's interesting because too, like, I think the fear that like your conversations are only going to be about her being a mom or like baby talk, that's actually something that I like, a big thing, at least for me. I don't know that all new moms or new parents struggle with this, but it's like loss of identity. Like
Right.
the idea of like, now you're viewed as your child's mother, or it's like something you like when you get married, like you're suddenly like that person's partner, that person's spouse, and suddenly you're that kid's mom, but you're still a person. And I think that that's something I really was anxious about, was like, I don't want to lose who I am. I'm like, it's something we've also talked about. Like, I'm still young. Like,
I'm still hip.
I still have like my best years of my life, I hope. Like,
Absolutely.
you know, and I think that that's the kind of thing where I would wager your friend doesn't want all of her conversations to exclusively be about her child. Like, and to that effect, like, especially if you're not someone with a baby, like, I also think you can steer that conversation. Like you can.
Yeah, she probably wants to hear
Yeah,
about
she
what's
wants
going
to
on
hear.
with your life,
For
and like
sure.
maybe not to escape necessarily, but just to
be like, she wants to be able to experience like her friendships that she had prior to her baby being in her life.
Yeah.
But I won't lie and say like, I think it's important to have empathy for her and like meet her where she is, because depending on what support she has in her life. Like I can say as someone who like childcare is really difficult, like especially if you're working full time, like trying to juggle this completely new part of your life that is extremely demanding and overwhelming and exhausting, depending on how old they are and like how much sleep you're getting. You know, you kind of just for the short term have to like meet her where she is, especially when you have like such a tough time zone difference too. I think it's just like being really intentional about the time you do have together. And probably just, I don't know what your relationship is with her, but being candid about like some of your anxieties, being like, I really value your friendship and like, I want to make sure we stay close. And like, I recognize that means we may not have the same amount of like time together. And like, I want to support you. But like, it's really
also still want to talk about,
it's really important that I get to like check in with you on things. Like I love your kid and I'm like super happy for you, even if you're not like, you know, like, you know, but like, and I think you will over time. Like, I think it's also fair, and then I want to hear your guys' perspective on this, but like, you know, I also think it's the illusion that a lot of media portrays around parenthood. It was something I struggled with, and I've been really open about the fact that I had horrible postpartum depression. So like, I also don't know, your friend might really need someone to talk to her about stuff that isn't about her baby, or just someone like to engage with her and keep her, you know, depending on what she's going through. But like, it's a period where you are going through so much, and it can be very overwhelming, and having people who are willing to like give you the space to like deal with the huge amount of change you're going through, and knowing they're going to be there for you, even if that means you don't have the same, like you're just not going to see each other as often or have the ability to like connect, but that doesn't mean you don't care about each other and that you're not interested in them and what's going on in their life. It's just, it's a huge adjustment period for the people having the child, and it's going to have a huge impact on their relationships. There's just two ways around it. Like it's just, that's just part of it impacts everybody in their life.
Oh yeah.
And so I think just being patient with her as she kind of navigates this like new period in her life that's probably pretty challenging. And that was what I was going to say is like, I think there's societally like this impression of like, when you have a baby, you're just like so obsessed with like being a parent and like you're so in love with your baby.
Your
like
whole personality.
I was like, I don't know this guy. Like when we brought him home, I was like, who is this? Like, where
There's
did he
a
come
stranger
from?
in our house. I don't want anyone to be alarmed or anything.
I was like, I don't know him. Like, I got to get to know him. Like, I got to figure out who he is. Like, I had a much longer period of like getting just me adjusting to being a mom.
Sure.
So it's normal. I would say it's also normal for a friend to feel like they have an adjustment period of like understanding their friend as a mom. Like you were talking about, it's like weird to look at me and be like, she has.
You are a mother.
You're a mother.
Hannah,
like, yeah.
Whenever so fun fact, whenever Hannah she came over to our house to tell us that she was pregnant.
Mm-hmm.
And basically to tell us that she wasn't coming to our wedding.
Yeah, it was very upsetting.
And like, I remember her sitting and sobbing on the couch, and I was like, this is so fucking exciting.
Yeah.
Like, oh my God. Like, I could literally not think of two better people to bring a child into this world than like
absolutely.
Hannah and Dan. And like ever since then, Hannah, my wife, and I would always just say, Hannah McCarthy, a mother. A mother.
But yeah, I mean, I would be
mother.
curious for you guys, like if you have, I know you have other friends who have kids.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many, I don't know if I'm like one of the fewer amongst your
You're
friends.
one of the very few.
Yeah, because like I said, I didn't have friends who had kids when I had a kid. Really, I had like one or two, but they also weren't here. They're not like
one of
with
my
me.
best friends back home, back in Ottawa. She has 3 children.
Wow.
But like we don't really keep in touch very much, other than like the occasional Facebook message.
Yeah,
but
it's
not.
hard. Yeah.
But I love hearing about her kids and stuff like that. But I think it also depends on the relationship you have with your friends.
Yeah.
Because obviously I think any relationship or friendship should be very balanced in the sense of like being able to talk about yourself and what's going on, but also like caring and being interested in what your friend has going on. And I think obviously, as you said, this is a massive life change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think like respecting the fact that your friend is going through this and might just be like, just needs an outlet to talk about these things to somebody and being excited for her.
That's I think about a lot when like I have friends who have kids in like very different stages of life, and I have like nieces and nephews who are like babies to like, you know, preteens. And so like I've gotten experience with people having kids from like a lot of different ranges, but I feel God, I miss that.
They probably can't hear, but we hear Achievement Hunter screaming somewhere
Yelling.
nearby.
It's surprisingly soundproof. It's pretty good. I can like hear it barely. But I think especially like, and you can attest to this, I'm sure, like that phase of life of having a new baby and bringing it home is like, you have essentially, and I don't mean this in a negative way, I just don't know what a different way to say it, but like you've ruined your life. Like you have completely ruined like the life that you were living, and you are now creating a new life. And that doesn't mean that it's a bad life by any means, but like the life that you had before is gone forever for the rest of your life. You are no longer that person because you now have like something that you must take care of and like something that's so demanding and so like takes so much out of you that like, you're like, this is all consuming because
shifts all your perspective.
Because like, I mean, you like people don't talk about enough like what moms go through and like postpartum and how like fucking scary that can be and how I'm sure isolating it feels. And like, there's so many, you always hear about the like the beautiful side of like parenting, and it's like, but like, you also have to remember like you're bringing home this like tiny little alien who's just like yelling at you and screaming at you and shitting and like pissing and farting all over you, and then you're like, oh fuck, like what the fuck did I just do?
And this is permanent.
And this is permanent. Like I can't take him back.
There's no return policy.
There's no return policy.
I remember you and Hannah coming to see me like I think a week or 2 after I'd given birth, and I was very much I was in the hole of depression and dealing with a lot. And sorry, I don't mean to make this person's comment all about like this, but like I think this is context for this writer saying that like I remember saying to you and Hannah, I feel like I blew up my life. And I remember Hannah saying, you did. Yeah. You did. But a new life is coming out of it. And I think the reality is, I think for this person, what I'd want to say is like, one, know that that's probably some degree of that is probably your friend's experience, whether she's like loving it, like which, you know, I hope is her experience, or if she's really struggling with it, she has completely recalibrated her entire life. And the way I've talked about it is like my center of gravity has shifted. Like where the weight is in my life is completely different. Where my time goes, where my energy goes is completely different than it was before. But it also means that it impacts everybody around me. Like everybody who interacts with me feels the shift of that gravity because they know I'm being pulled in different directions than I was beforehand. So I think you're valid in feeling that way. I think that feeling of betrayal that you're experiencing is one, just like a knee jerk of like your love for your friend, like feeling like you want your friend's attention and time. It's coming from a place of, closeness and wanting to be, you know, a part of her life. I think you might, like her, have probably never gone through something like this. So it's a new experience for you as well. And I think the best thing you can do is just like be honest if you have that relationship with your friend about like how you want to like be present in her life and to be able to offer her like how you want to support her. But also just recognizing like your relationship is going to change. Like her relationship with everybody in her life is probably going to change. And you can be a big part of what that looks like going forward for you, especially if you're someone who's so far removed from a distance. I think it'd be different if you were closer together.
And you could actually be with each other.
And you could see each other. So I think you have to be really intentional about how you do connect because you do have more barriers to you.
And I think it's important to note too that like that baby's growing. Like that baby is going to need less and less of your friend as time goes on. So I wouldn't like.
It's not forever.
No,
I'm telling you. Thank God.
It's not forever. And it's like, it's like, this is 100% of my time. And it always will be 100% of my time. But it's like, then you like learn to make more room and like learn to grow and
balance it out.
And balance it all out. I have a friend who's actually like, has a very similar situation in that she's basically the person who wrote this of being like, my friend had a baby a year ago. Like, I cannot have a conversation with her without bringing up the baby. And she's like, I love the kid. Like, but I want to talk about other things.
But
like,
it's still my friend that I want.
Yeah. And it's like, I wish that she would ask me about how I was doing. And it's like, sometimes you have to prompt that. Like, you have to be like, hey, like this crazy thing happened to me today. Can I talk to you about it? Or like, you know, like not just be like, hey, how's it going? Because the first thing is gonna be like, oh, I'm not sleeping because of the baby. And it's like, okay, well, you already fucking blew your load with the baby. I don't want to hear any more about the baby.
Right.
Like, I'm done with the baby.
And that's your point, Barbara, about like, it's a relationships go both directions. So there still is definitely something for your friend to, I try to be really conscious of that when I'm with friends. And most of my friends want to hear about my baby and want to hear how I'm doing.
But if anything, we started hanging out way. I mean, we were going over like once a week whenever you first had Alice.
It's true.
Wow.
And I think it's also just a matter of like, if you're someone, and this is also totally fine, if you're someone who just like straight up doesn't like kids, like doesn't want to have anything to do with babies, that's going to continue to be present in that relationship. And that's okay. Like, not everybody wants to be around kids or to have kids or like have anything to do with kids. But that is a choice your friend made and is part of her life, and it's going to continue to be present.
Right.
So it's just a matter of like how you figure that out, like how you interface with them, like now that that's a big part of their life, you know, it's just going to be, and your point, like if your friend may not be realizing that she's not asking how you're doing, I think as much as you can in a like a loving way, be like, you know, I would love it if you like asked me about my day or like what's going on in my life.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like we only talk about your baby and I love your baby, but what about me? Like, I think you can bring it up.
It's very possible your friend just doesn't realize.
I'm gonna tell you, we're sleep deprived.
Yeah.
My brain does not function the way it used to. Like, genuinely, I'm like, she probably doesn't know if she's got like new underwear on, let alone if she asked you how your day is. So like,
put them on inside out.
Yeah. I mean, you know, so I think you just give her any patience you can extend to her. But also just like any good relationship, like good communication, clear communication about like what you want and like what you are, you know, what's bothering you.
And also, I mean, this is part of your friend's life forever now. So like, I think always expecting there to be talk of what's going on with her kid and like things like that, because she looks to you to also share that information and share that news that she's either, if it's like difficult situations she's going through, joys that she's going through, like it's just a permanent part of her life now. And so if there is a situation where you're like, I don't care about this kid, I don't want to hear about it at all, like maybe rethink that friendship altogether, because part of friendship is supporting people as they go through these life decisions and changes.
And relationships change and people grow apart, and it's hard. I'm not saying like, you know, like it's gonna be like like no big deal, but like that's part of it, like letting your relationship change and adapt and seeing where that takes you as you both get, you know, through this new period.
Absolutely.
But she's probably really tired and like really out of it, so just like, you know, be patient with her.
Yeah, and she lives in a different country too.
Yeah, that's like, hard on both of you. So you know, I think just being open and honest with each other as much as you can is usually just a good policy across the board.
Yeah, I mean, that's also one of the things too that I think when you realize when you get older is like, I think it's very valid to like sit back and like have feelings and figure out what those feelings mean and like really get a grasp of them and then like be able to present that and like state a case.
Yeah.
Because I feel like when you're younger, I don't know, I've just like really matured in my 30s. Now that I'm 31 and I'm so old.
Oh my God.
But it's this thing of like understanding who you are and like what you need and also being upfront with that and like setting boundaries essentially, but not necessarily being like, I don't want to ever fucking hear about your kid again, but just being like, hey, this is how I've been feeling.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about it. I know you have a lot going on, but it's important to me that like we keep this like some semblance of friendship right now because I know you're super busy and like here's how I feel, like put it out there all on the table and like be compassionate, be kind about it.
Yeah.
But I don't think you have to like, you know, like fucking having a baby. I can't even imagine. Like, I mean, we're gonna go through that like soon. And I just like know, and in the back of my mind, I'm like, everything's gonna be over. Like it's gonna be over and that's okay. But that's because that's like what we want.
It's like the next chapter.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean, if anything, poor Hannah's, I text Hannah, I'm like, how's the baby? How's Ellis? I miss him. What's he doing? What's he
It's
up
like
to?
she
Like,
get
you
a
don't matter.
question in that's
Yeah,
just
you're
like
like,
my
out of my
friend
way.
will never
Which is
ask me
another
about
point.
me.
Yeah,
and
what
just
about
my
me?
baby.
It's another
Yeah.
point that I will bring up
Yeah.
that's like very important for I think moms and like people who have children is like they're still people.
Yeah.
Like you still need to check in with them and like you need to remember
Absolutely.
that like they are people outside of their baby and they are people who have needs and wants and desires and everything and that it's very like I feel like there's so much focus on women when they're pregnant and it's like, oh my God, you're getting all the best care, you're doing all of this, you're doing all of that. And then and I don't know if I'm wrong on this, Hannah, but like after the baby's born, the baby has a checkup before the mom does. So you shoot a little cooter rocket out.
Oh yeah.
And then like no one bothers to ask you how you're doing because they're like,
yeah.
baby.
They check the
Yeah.
baby, I think it's like at least within 24 to 48 hours after leaving the hospital. And then like you have like, I'm going to probably get it wrong myself because I was basically, I've blacked out the first like month of what it was. But, and then it's like, I think you have like 2 weeks, 1 month, 2 months, like they're getting
that's all
checked.
for the baby.
For the baby. Yeah. The baby's getting checked because you're trying to make sure they're hitting their growth milestones and everything and that they're okay. So the baby's getting checked on like a weekly, monthly basis for like the first couple of months. And the mother or the person who had the baby doesn't get their first checkup until 6 weeks after delivery.
Wow.
Yeah.
6 weeks?
And if you're dealing with postpartum depression, that's a really long time to not have someone checking in on you.
also the amount of trauma your body just went through.
Well, and this is, sorry, I keep turning this into, this is just because I think it's really interesting, but
no,
like
it's an important topic.
I was telling Mariel about how like, you know, when you are pregnant, you have the highest levels, and I'm not a scientist, I'm not a doctor, nobody comes
she
for
also
me.
went to film school.
I don't know math, I don't know science, I don't know how hormones work, but the vast simplification of this, and I'm going to get probably the terms wrong so somebody can correct me, but like I believe it's something like you have the highest levels of hormones when you're pregnant, like estrogen, progesterone, like those are the highest that they'll ever be because your body is working to like all these building blocks of making a human. And when you deliver your baby and deliver the placenta, you have the lowest amount
Does
of
it all
those
just, like,
hormones. It drops. You have you tank, your hormones tank. And it is
It's like instant menopause.
instantly, like you
my
have basically the
God.
same. It's like you have the same hormone levels that you would if you were going through menopause.
Yeah.
And so your body is thrown into this like complete chaos of like what is happening, and it is what makes you kind of feel unhinged,
or like the depression.
yeah,
too.
like you kind of your body's like I don't know what's going on. And again, like for anybody who's gone through that. Again, to this person, like, you know, it's the first, I would say 3 to 4 months are very hard on the person who's given birth, like physically, hormonally, chemically. Like if you're a person who comes out of that and is like super lovey, like having the time of your life, I am so happy for you. I think that is incredible. But I would say the vast majority of people have a really hard time because even if you're not dealing with like, even if you cope with the physical side of it really well, I was someone who we've talked about on the previous episode of the shows. I'm mentally ill. So like, I knew that was going to be an issue.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. I knew that I was going to be predisposed to something like postpartum depression. And it's something that like, if I went and sought help within 2 weeks, in under 2 weeks, because I was like, this is not normal. They were like, baby blues is like, a lot of people get baby
I feel
blues.
like that's such an insult to call
it
it.
It
is.
feels a little
Absolutely.
bit. It feels a little infantilizing. But it was like, you know, you'll cry a lot, and I was like, this feels a little more intense than that.
I mean, we were terrified for you. Like,
Yeah,
I
I was-
remember going over
yeah.
to your house and just like, we were like, what do we do?
Oh yeah,
Because
I
it
felt
was-
like I had crawled out of my body and had been replaced by like an alien. Like
yeah.
it was, and I'm very honest about it because I don't think people talk about it enough. And I think it's one of those things that like people who go through this are, to your point, like during pregnancy, there's a lot of like support and like love and all this stuff. And then when the baby gets here, it's this like, well, this should be the most joyous moment in your life. Like your baby's here. Like you should be nothing but happy, sunshine, and rainbows. And like you can be very grateful that your baby is here and healthy and safe, but still feel like what have I done to my life? Like I think it's very normal for people to be like, I have made a huge mistake. Like nobody wants you to say that. I think it's like one of those like people would shame a mother or a parent if they're like, I feel like I've made a mistake.
Right.
I think those kind of thoughts are completely normal, one. And then like two, to be like, I'm so exhausted, you literally are getting no sleep. And I just think we need to kind of normalize that for people and like give people kind of set the expectations around what that looks like for people. Now I've just gone off on a tirade, but
I think it's such an important thing to be talking about because honestly, like as close as friends we are, I've never heard you go into this much detail about it. And I think there's probably so many people watching who have experienced something like this, and I've never heard someone
or have like a partner or a friend who's gone through it or going through it, and like
that lives in China.
Yeah, perhaps. Like a friend. And again, like I feel like hopefully your friend is not dealing with anything like that, but they could be struggling with their mental health, or they could be struggling with like not having family or support nearby, where they're trying to do this all by themselves, and it's a huge load on people. And having people who are willing to come bring you food and hold your baby so you can shower, which was what Mariel and Hannah did. Cause I was like literally losing all sense of like who I was at that point. That's so important. And you obviously this to the person trying to make this not just about me ranting about, having kids. You obviously can't do that. They're in China. Like you don't have the ability to be like, I'm going to come bring you a meal and we'll hang out and we'll talk about your day and we'll talk about my day. So I think that comes back to that intentionality of like, one, having just kind of empathy for where your friend is in their life and knowing this is a season in their life and it will change. But also recognizing that like, it's totally okay for that to be the case, and that you can meet each other in the middle with like what you can do with the hand you've been dealt, like where you're so far apart, and like what that support looks like is different for you than if they were in the same country or time zone or whatever the case may be. So we've ranted about that a lot.
No, it's great. I love getting into it.
Yeah.
I wish we had so much more time, but we got to wrap up the show.
I know.
Which means like we got to figure out another time.
I know.
Yeah, we should do this again.
I would love that.
Honestly, you are welcome whenever.
I'll just show up.
Honestly, like
Let me in, please.
we film this the same day every week. You are welcome to come.
All right, cool. I'll be here.
And Hannah, of course, anytime you want to be on.
I'm here.
Busy lady here.
I
Busiest
promise
lady.
to not talk about babies that much the next time.
Unless we get a question about it.
Unless we get it, and then I'm happy to talk about it. But yeah, I'm so happy to be here. So happy to get to talk to both of you wonderful people and to learn so much about Taylor Swift.
I know. I feel like
We
that-
didn't even scratch the surface.
We did.
ladies.
I'm expecting a PowerPoint in my
It
inbox
is
as
core.
soon as we leave.
Oh,
so
absolutely.
It's the follow-up work to do.
yeah, we got
it's the
homework.
homework.
Yeah, we have homework.
You do.
We'll be quizzed on the next time.
And if you have a question for the show, you could email us alwaysopen@roosterteeth.com. If you have a question for us, if you have a situation where you think you're being an asshole and you want us to judge you for it, we're happy to do that too. And of course, if you're not already, please subscribe to the All Good No Worries YouTube channel, where you get Always Open every single Tuesday, as well as other shows every Thursday, led by some incredible women here at the company. Could not say better things about it, so please subscribe and come support the shows. Hannah, Mariel, thank you guys for being here.
It was so good to be
So
here.
happy to be
So
here.
good.
Adore you.
Yes,
Literally
absolutely.
warms the cockles of my heart. And hopefully we'll see you guys again very soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the
Absolutely.
show and just in general.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys all so much for watching this episode of Always Open, and we'll see you next Tuesday.
Peace.
Hello, everyone. Always Open has returned and is available on a new women-led YouTube channel called All Good No Worries. Come on over. It's warm and fuzzy and beautiful.